Chusi Kanku from Esports Africa News, and today I'm here with a friend I've not seen in like forever. I was just trying to remind him when was the last time we met, and it was in a good place. That memory has stayed with me for a very long time. Lagos, Nigeria, 2024. I think it was May, June 2024. I loved it.
Hmm.
It was my first experience of Lagos. That memory has stayed with me. I had Pepper Gizzard, and that's always my
Okay.
go-to. That's always my go-to. But
Love
so
it.
today I'll introduce myself as Chinedu Kanu. Every time I speak to my Nigerian brothers and sisters, I give my
Okay.
local name. My name is Chinedu Kanu, and I'm from Esports Africa News. And today's recording is being supported by Boss Studios, and Boss Studios are your media organization based in Nigeria, led by a very energetic lady called Kenechukwu Okeke. And for anything production, anything promotional, always go to Boss Studios. Their details will be put on the screen whilst we speak. So you gotta introduce yourself, and I don't want you to give me just your name because there's more to it. Let's peel you like an onion and tell us a bit more about yourself, what you've done in the last few years, because we want to know.
Okay. Hi everybody. My name is Dominion Eromosele. Most people within the industry just refer to me as Dom. And I've been working in gaming for what is nearing, I believe, 6 or 7 years now. My current role is a growth lead at an awesome company called Carry First. Been at the company for several years, and my role essentially, if you were to define it in one sentence, it's to grow Call of Duty Mobile in Africa. So essentially leading a team that thinks of marketing activities, activations, strategies, both from the monetization as well as the publishing angle that just helps make this game what I truly believe it is, which is the number one FPS, mobile FPS game in Africa at the moment. So it's it's a very interesting job, and I enjoy doing it every single day. I'm based out of Nigeria, lived most of my life in Nigeria, and yeah, exciting to be here.
Now that's good. That's good. Why? Well, there were two things that came to my mind straight away. You're a good
Okay,
marketing guy. The way you already presented Call of Duty Mobile as the best FPS is great angle, and then
personal opinion.
no, but that's great. But let's go to why Call of Duty Mobile.
Hmm. Hmm.
Why Call of Duty Mobile? Free Fire, PUBG Mobile, now FC. There are lots of mobile games. Why Call of Duty
Yeah.
Mobile?
So, Carry First as an organization in general engages a lot of games. If you've followed Carry First throughout the years, you see that we've done work with the likes of, Riot with Valorant. We've done works with the likes of, PUBG even, all these games. So there is Carry First as an organization where we engage with all these games. And the way I think of it is if anyone truly wants to grow their title within the African continent seamlessly and with localized activations, Carry First is perhaps the best key to unlocking that. That's how I see it. But me personally, as a subdivision within Carry First, I have a dedicated team that I lead that just focuses on CODM. And there's a reason we do that. One, they are a great partner to work with. We've worked with them since 2022 when we first launched servers in South Africa. Then we replicated the same in Nigeria in 2024, I believe. And then we also started working to unlock local payments for in-game currency, which has also been a good way for players to engage the game that they love without hindrance. So there's always been that partnership over the years, and now it has metamorphosed into this thing where it is now a lot more collaborative, where most people would see now that there's a Call of Duty Mobile Africa social media account across most popular social media
Hmm.
platforms. There are activations in the market every other month. There's even localized content in game. Just last month, there was like a localized operator and weapon blueprints and all these things for Africa Day specifically. So the reason if I was to sum it up, is one, because the game is growing and growing fast. Two, because it's a partnership that works and has been working really well over the last couple of years. And three, for me personally, it's just an awesome game to grow in the market. It's a game I genuinely love and I've played even before any of this. So now doing this for a job, it's very exciting to me.
Yeah, I think I pick up on the line that a legitimate access. One of my challenges and what I do
Hmm.
as a media person is going through all these games, all these communities, and some of the things is having legitimate access to the games. And it looks like Carryface has cracked that because now Carryface is providing or in partnership, with game developers and studios, is providing
Hmm.
Africans legitimate access to these games. You talk about
Hmm.
registering under an African name, registering and making payment through your local payments
Yeah.
network. So that is the legitimate access that I kind of take from this conversation that is the
Hmm.
way forward. But let's zone in into
100%.
Call of Duty Mobile African Championship. And for me, 2027, I'm predicting that Xbox and PS will struggle on the continent because Africa is mobile. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no doubt that Africa is mobile. And for me, 2027, I'm predicting that Xbox and PS will struggle on the continent because Africa is mobile. With the likes of Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG Mobile, Free
Hmm.
Fire, FC Mobile,
Yeah.
eFootball, you know, the if legitimate access is given on these mobile games,
Hmm.
PS and Xbox will struggle on the continent. But
Hmm.
we're talking about Call of Duty Mobile now.
No,
Call of
it's a
Duty
very
Mobile
interesting
African,
take.
well, that's from research and from
Yeah.
constant engagement with the community and with everything else happening. Call of Duty Mobile Africa.
Hmm.
What has been I mean, if we take up to last year and
Yeah.
growing for this year, if we take the experience of getting around the continent with the tournament you had, what is the experience and the uptake? And then you had your creators hub, which was for
Hmm.
me one of the best things that's happened. And now we have the what do you call it, 2026 championship, the
Yeah.
opportunities, shoutcasters, community engagement, personalities, the media like us, there's so many opportunities in Africa. So talk us through last year's experience, your creator
Hmm.
community, and then what's happening this year. I can still remind you if you miss any.
No, it's no, it's completely fine. The way I think about it is every great movement needs two fronts. And this is regardless of whether you're a game, whether you are a software, or you are even some kind of cultural habits that you are trying to build. When you
Mm.
think about the way I think about it is every great movement needs two fronts.
And for me, 2027, I'm predicting that Xbox and PS will struggle on the continent because Africa is mobile. With the likes of Call of Duty, I mean, there's
Yeah.
no doubt that Africa is mobile. And for me, 2027, I'm predicting that Xbox and PS will struggle on the continent because Africa is mobile. With the likes of Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG Mobile, Free
Hmm.
Fire, FC Mobile,
Yeah.
eFootball, you know, the if legitimate access is given on these mobile games,
Hmm.
PS and Xbox will struggle on the continent. But
Hmm.
we're talking about Call of Duty Mobile now.
No,
Call of
it's a
Duty
very
Mobile
interesting
African,
take.
well,
Oh,
that's from research and from
yeah.
constant engagement with the community and with everything else happening. Call of Duty Mobile Africa.
Hmm.
What has been I mean, if we take up to last year and
Yeah.
growing for this year, if we take the experience of getting around the continent with the tournament you had, what is the experience and the uptake? And then you had your creators hub, which was for
Hmm.
me one of the best things that's happened. And now we have the what do you call it, 2026 championship, the
Yeah.
opportunities, shoutcasters, community engagement, personalities, the media like us, you know there's so many opportunities in in Africa. So talk us through last year's experience, your creator
Mhm.
community, and then what's happening this year. I can still remind you if you miss any.
No, it's completely fine. The way I think about it is every great movement needs two fronts. And this is regardless of whether you're a game, whether you are a software, or you are even some kind of cultural habits that you are trying to build. When you
Mm.
think about,
I mean, there's
yeah,
no doubt that Africa is mobile. And for me, 2027, I'm predicting that Xbox and PS will struggle on the continent because Africa is mobile. With the likes of Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG Mobile, Free
mhm,
Fire, FC Mobile,
yeah,
eFootball, you know, if legitimate access is given on these mobile games,
mhm,
PS and Xbox will struggle on the continent. Oh,
hmm.
we're talking about Call of Duty Mobile now.
No,
Call of
it's a
Duty
very
Mobile
interesting
Africa,
take.
well, that's from research and from
Yeah.
constant engagement with the community and with everything else happening. Call of Duty Mobile Africa,
Mhm.
what has been your, I mean, even if we take up to last year and
Yeah.
growing for it this year, if we take the experience of getting around the continent with the tournament you had, what is the experience and the uptake? And then you had your creators hub, which was for
Mhm.
me one of the best things that's happened. And now we have the what do you call it, 2026 championship, the
Yeah.
opportunities, shoutcasters, community engagement, personalities, the media like us, there's so many opportunities in Africa. So talk us through last year's experience, your creator
Mhm.
community, and then what's happening this year. I can still remind you if you miss any.
No, it's completely fine. The way I think about it is every great movement needs two fronts. And this is regardless of whether you're a game, whether you are a software, or you are even some kind of cultural habits that you are trying to build. When you
Mm.
think about,
I mean, there's
yeah,
no doubt that Africa is mobile. And for me, 2027, I'm predicting that Xbox and PS will struggle on the continent because Africa is mobile. With the likes of Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG Mobile, Free
mhm,
Fire, FC Mobile,
yeah,
eFootball, you know, if legitimate access is given on these mobile games,
mhm,
PS and Xbox will struggle on the continent. Oh,
hmm.
we're talking about Call of Duty Mobile now.
No,
Call of
it's a
Duty
very
Mobile
interesting
Africa,
take.
well, that's from research and from
Yeah.
constant engagement with the community and with everything else happening. Call of Duty Mobile Africa,
Mhm.
what has been your, I mean, even if we take up to last year and
Yeah.
growing for it this year, if we take the experience of getting around the continent with the tournament you had, what is the experience and the uptake? And then you had your creators hub, which was for
Mhm.
me one of the best things that's happened. And now we have the what do you call it, 2026 championship, the
Yeah.
opportunities, shoutcasters, community engagement, personalities, the media like us, there's so many opportunities in Africa. So talk us through last year's experience, your creator
Mhm.
community, and then what's happening this year. I can still remind you if you miss any.
No, it's completely fine. The way I think about it is every great movement needs two fronts. And this is regardless of whether you're a game, whether you are a software, or you are even some kind of cultural habits that you are trying to build. When you
Mm.
think about,
I mean, there's
yeah,
no doubt that Africa is mobile. And for me, 2027, I'm predicting that Xbox and PS will struggle on the continent because Africa is mobile. With the likes of Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG Mobile, Free
mhm,
Fire, FC Mobile,
yeah,
eFootball, you know, if legitimate access is given on these mobile games,
mhm,
PS and Xbox will struggle on the continent. Oh,
hmm.
we're talking about Call of Duty Mobile now.
No,
Call of
it's a
Duty
very
Mobile
interesting
Africa,
take.
well, that's from research and from constant engagement with the community and with everything else happening. Call of Duty Mobile Africa. What has been your, I mean, even if we take up to last year and growing forward this year, if we take the experience of getting around the continent with the tournament you had, what is the experience and the uptake? And then you had your Creators Hub, which was, for me, one of the best things that's happened. And now we have the, what do you call it, 2026 championship, the opportunities, you know, shoutcasters, community engagement, personalities, you know, the media like us, you know, there's so many opportunities in Africa. So talk us through last year's experience, your creator community, and then what's happening this year. I can still remind you if you miss any.
No, it's completely fine. The way I think about it is every great movement needs two fronts, and this is regardless of whether you're a game, whether you are a software, or you are even some kind of cultural habits that you are trying to build. When you think about,
I mean, there's no doubt that Africa is mobile, and for me, 2027, I'm predicting that Xbox and PS will struggle on the continent because Africa is mobile, with the likes of Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG Mobile, Free Fire, FC Mobile, eFootball. You know, the if legitimate access is given on these mobile games, PS and Xbox will struggle on the continent. We're talking about Call of Duty Mobile now.
No,
Call of Duty.
It's a very
Mobile
interesting
Africa,
take.
Well, that's from research and from constant engagement with the community and with everything else happening. Call of Duty Mobile Africa. What has been your, I mean, even if we take up to last year and growing forward this year, if we take the experience of getting around the continent with the tournament you had, what is the experience and the uptake? And then you had your Creators Hub, which was, for me, one of the best things that's happened. And now we have the, what do you call it, 2026 championship, the opportunities, you know, shoutcasters, community engagement, personalities, you know, the media like us, you know, there's so many opportunities in Africa. So talk us through last year's experience, your creator community, and then what's happening this year. I can still remind you if you miss any.
No, it's completely fine. The way I think about it is every great movement needs two fronts, and this is regardless of whether you're a game, whether you are a software, or you are even some kind of cultural habits that you are trying to build. When you think about
I mean, there's no doubt that Africa is mobile, and for me, 2027, I'm predicting that Xbox and PS will struggle on the continent because Africa is mobile, with the likes of Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG Mobile, Free Fire, FC Mobile, eFootball. You know, the if legitimate access is given on these mobile games, PS and Xbox will struggle on the continent. We're talking about Call of Duty Mobile now.
No,
Call of Duty.
It's a very
Mobile
interesting
Africa,
take.
Well, that's from research and from constant engagement with the community and with everything else happening. Call of Duty Mobile Africa. What has been your, I mean, even if we take up to last year and growing forward this year, if we take the experience of getting around the continent with the tournament you had, what is the experience and the uptake? And then you had your Creators Hub, which was, for me, one of the best things that's happened. And now we have the, what do you call it, 2026 championship, the opportunities, you know, shoutcasters, community engagement, personalities, you know, the media like us, you know, there's so many opportunities in Africa. So talk us through last year's experience, your creator community, and then what's happening this year. I can still remind you if you miss any.
No, it's completely fine. The way I think about it is every great movement needs two fronts, and this is regardless of whether you're a game, whether you are a software, or you are even some kind of cultural habits that you are trying to build. When you think about marketing and you think about social change or mass scale social change, which is essentially what marketing aims to solve, there always needs to be two fronts. The first is the infrastructural front, and the other is the cultural front. These two things always need to be solved. And what that simply means is you're always going to need to provide an environment for the culture that you want to build, and you provide these things simultaneously to create this vicious cycle that leads to growth, the upward spiral trajectory. And the way I then think about it is, with the game and trying to grow the game, we've always attacked those two fronts. We are on the back end trying to provide the best infrastructure. So it's, are there servers on the continent that helps people play better? So now I can play with my friend who is in Egypt or my friend who is in Cape Town, and there isn't like a massive difference in our playing experience up to the point where we can't even be competitive around something we want, And then also when I want to buy skins or whatever, I am able to buy these things. Now, those things might seem basic until you then realize that when you flip it and you come to the cultural aspects, because those things are the environment, they are the infrastructure. When you flip it and you come to the cultural aspects, none of the cultures you're trying to build will be valid or will truly grow without those ones. So that's why we then do things like, okay, we did the Africa Cup last year. Now, the Africa Cup requires that people are competitive. They can't be competitive without the infrastructure, at least to the degree that you want. Or we move into have the Creators College. We did the Creators College specifically because we realized, again, it's the same thing. We want a culture. That culture is one where creators are superstars, right? I personally believe it's possible. At the end of the day, entertainment is just the attention of eyeballs, right? And these people are very entertaining if you watch their streams and watch their content. So they have the potential to be superstars and people love what they do, people follow them. But that is probably not going to happen if these creators don't understand the infrastructure, the logic, the patterns, and the operations that it takes to be successful at this business. So it's not just culture, it's infrastructure. So that's why we then do the Creators College. How do we help these guys build the infrastructure they need to support the culture and the lifestyle that we want to see for these creators in the market? And all of that is creating the vicious upward trajectory I'm talking about, right? You keep doing these two things side by side. And then we go back to the Africa Cup. So it's perhaps a very remarkable success story when you look at esports in the continent to date, because we did this in 2024. That was the first time CODM players were going to have an inter-country tournament where they would be physically available. You can say, yes, Nigeria is playing South Africa, but nobody's traveling anywhere to do that. This was the first time it was happening. We did that in 2024. We used the studio space in Nairobi. It was streamed online, but it was just a few people in the venue, just a production team and some VIP guests, and that was cool. And then we scaled up to 2025, where now you're bringing all these teams to Nigeria, you're packing out this hall with 800 to 1,000 people, over the course of 2 days, who are like screaming and yelling and enjoying it. And now, trust me, we are looking to one up that even more with the experience we're actually putting out this year. But all of that is to create the culture while making sure that culture stays supported with the infrastructure that allows them to succeed. So there are a lot of things we keep thinking about, a lot of ideas we keep having, a lot of visions for what a lifestyle around gaming and around this particular game itself looks like. But we always have to make sure there's that underlying infrastructure for it, and then we go on to execute the big headline activities that everybody sees that then builds the culture to help the game thrive in the markets. This might have been a long example or a long explanation, but I hope you understand how I think about it and what our trajectory always looks like.
Okay. Absolutely, because I've been involved in the community, so I do appreciate where it's come from. And I think I don't think we did much on 2024's event. You probably just published a bit on it, but 2025 was one that I truly followed, and I sort of got involved. And then your gamers college, creators college as well, was one that I really thought was impressive. Talk about 2026. Which African country is not tagged on? We've got 54 countries. I wanted to 55 countries. I told you about the 55th one. Which 50? which countries are part of it?
Honestly, a lot of them. I think it goes all the way up to the high 30s. To be honest, the only reason we would not include any country is if, sometimes we know that due to travel reasons or certain geographical or geopolitical instability, that country is probably going to be difficult to get people in and out of, and we don't want to put anybody at risk. That's the only reason we would ever not include any country. But
So it's
aside
open
that,
to anybody and everybody.
yeah, it's open. It's open. For matter of fact, and this is something I don't think a lot of people have done in recent times with esports in Africa. We actually open it to the entire world. And let me explain
Right.
what I mean.
Yeah.
It's
So
actually
this
open
is
to the
where I
entire
come in.
world. Yeah. Yeah,
The
it's everybody.
55th country. So we, the diasporan Africans, are also encouraged to be part of this.
Anybody anywhere can actually join in. The only difference is and this is the way when we Call of Duty Mobile, it really works for other regions as well. You could go play in the China regional tournament if you want right now, or go play in the Indian one. The only request is you are physically in India while it's happening, right? During the qualifiers, because obviously of the servers and the disparity. Because if I'm here in Africa and my team is in India and they are playing there while I'm here, chances are it's going to mess up the ping and all of that. So anybody can actually come play in the African tournaments. The only difference is you need to make sure you are in any of the African regions that we've stipulated as the regions for the tournament when the qualifiers is happening. And obviously we don't want some kind of washing over whereby some team from China or Japan just flies their folks in and takes over. So what we've done is you are allowed to have a maximum of 2 foreign players in your team. So it's a team of 6 or 5 starters and 1 sub, and you're allowed to have a maximum of 2 foreign players who are not either Africans by residency or citizenship. So if they are foreign players who are just coming in for a tournament, then yeah, it's a maximum of 2, but you can have them. And I think this is very important. It's critical because I think for far too long we've played this. We've engaged the globe with this little child mentality. It's like we're the growing plants. So we are the ones kept in the nursery box, the nursery pots, and kept away to just grow, and we're tenderized and let to be soft. But the problem with that is every single time you then take us out of this nursery box and exactly, and then bring us to compete against these big trees that have been here for years. In most cases, we don't perform, right? And then we run back to our nursery box the next year and have our thing. And the only way we end up growing is if we actually get out of that space. Let's be where everybody else is. Let's open up our qualifiers too, so people who maybe might be very, very good from other regions can come in, and suddenly we're leveling up the competitive experience, right? And this is not to say that there aren't folks who are extremely talented as well. We have folks here who end up playing for teams in other regions. The point is just, if there is a global standard to meet, from my perspective, my job is to put in the infrastructure that gets us as close as possible to that global standard, because I want to see an African team win Call of Duty Mobile World Championships. I absolutely want to see that, and if there's anything we can do to get us closer to that, then I'm absolutely here for it.
I think I agree with you 100% on the bringing us out of your scenario of in the nursery. We need to stand up to be counted, and if you're going to be going global, then we definitely need to be putting ourselves out for that. That's interesting. So again, for 2026, open to the world, open to diasporan Africans. I'm hoping that many diasporan Africans watching this will be like, yeah, I need to find a team to enlist. I think one thing that we've not done right or well is to open up our directory for esports teams, because then diasporan Africans will be able to identify the teams that they can engage in. But it's something that we can work on. I'll speak to my team and get a directory available for teams that people can work with, going forward. So now the competition is on, open up. Is it going to be Lagos again this year?
Most likely. That's
Most
what I
likely
can
Lagos. We love Lagos. Chinedu Kado loves Lagos. I'm always happy to be in Lagos. So, but that's great. But again, that tells me something about
Mm-hmm.
the country Nigeria, about the potential in there for
Mm-hmm.
international events, not just
Mm-hmm.
the Carry First event, but you, there's a thing about Nigeria that
Mm-hmm.
we need to build up. If Esports World Cup is moved to France, maybe Esports World Cup can move to Nigeria next. It's what you guys do that makes
Yeah.
it. We can build up from there. Because if we don't
Yeah.
do it, we never know we can do it. So I'm happy
True.
to see things happen in and around Nigeria. It's a great thing that you guys do.
Mm.
Created. Go on.
The way I think about it, right, is a lot of times you hear people who are based here in Nigeria or based on the African continent saying things like, "Oh, why aren't all these big tournaments and all these things coming into Africa or coming into Nigeria?" And sometimes I think it's a valid statement, but it's also an unempathetic one. Let me put it that way. So let me explain my logic. Let's take ourselves and let's also ask questions like, let's say I'm Nigerian. I know things are happening in Nigeria. I know it's a great place to host events. But as a Nigerian, if someone then told me, maybe let's go have a tournament in, let's use Sierra Leone, for example. Now, and this is, I'm very sure Sierra Leone is an amazing ecosystem and there are crazy good stuff happening there, but that exactly proves my point. I have no idea. Right. I don't know what's going on there. And if somebody told me, my first instinct would be to raise an eyebrow. Or if somebody even showed me a video of thousands of people in this venue, it's crazy, it's amazing, and it's in Sierra Leone, my first reaction would be, wait, what? This is happening in Sierra Leone? How come I've never known about this? And then the Sierra Leonean would look at me and be like, you don't know, you don't care. Yeah, you're asking. Exactly. So a lot of times, the way we look at these things too, we have to realize that we owe ourselves a responsibility to prove our meta, right? I remember when we said we're going to do Cup in Nigeria, a lot of people thought it was crazy. Even I genuinely wasn't the biggest fan of it at first. But remember when we were done, we sent out these videos, the content, and the teams back, at Activision and anywhere else were like, wait, wow. This is amazing. It's beautiful to see. So in my opinion, I think that's one thing we have to push ourselves for. It's no one's going to come to you and hand you anything, right? You're going to have to prove your meta and get out of the nursery room, show yourself against others, sometimes claw your way there. And then when you prove that there is actually something amazing here, folks would run. If we prove that Nigeria is an amazing place to hold esports events and it happens easily, every time an organizer wants to do stuff here, it's like the snap of their finger, more people would come. There's a reason why folks are going to China now and going to Riyadh before the entire fiasco that's happened, or go to parts of Western Europe. It's because when you go there, it's just snap of your finger. You have studios, you have travel permits, you have all these things that are already built
Logistics,
to make life easy for you,
No, I think we will get there. And when I hear stories like this, I'm more challenged and more interested in trying to say we need to be talking more about African events, esports, game development, animation, and that's why I'm always hounding you and many other people to say, hey, what's your year plan? What's happening? We need to know. We need to know what's happening next. So yeah, we will do our best to showcase that, because the more we promote, showcase what you guys are doing, plus what you guys are also showcasing, then there's I'd say there is a legitimate answer to the questions that people ask. And I always say that I'm waiting for the time that people stop asking, not waiting, but I'm hoping that soon people will stop asking, does this happen in Africa, rather than, and then say, when is the next event happening? Because we've proven that already. So that's interesting. Yeah. So this year, what are we looking at in terms of the opportunity for the whole tournament? Because it's not just about the gamers. One of the things that we've talked about in the past in our post is to do with coaches. You guys have done your creators. Associated industries like we the media, the other industries that sort of come around, tech people, the production team, are they Africans? How are we trying to spotlight those professions within the whole production to say, hey guys, not everyone is a gamer, not everyone's going to hold a controller, but many of you can be part of this whole industry. You are the director, manager, boss man for that angle. You've got your tribesmen, you've got your production team. I was also involved partly with the Ghana production because one of my organizations, GGC,
nice. Yes.
GGC helped do the production, so I did all the consultation behind the scenes, but obviously not in front. But all those kind of layers of opportunities. How can we spotlight that? Would like to talk about and show proof. Talking about this is one thing, but if we can have behind the scenes access to personalities doing these jobs and make a docu series about the role they're playing, to say, hey, at the end of the day, it's happened. There's been winners with the controllers, but there are bigger winners here. These are guys who have been working with CarryFirst. These are guys who have employment with CarryFirst, and they've got contracts. They might not be full-time employees, but they've got other roles they play. Come do the job, and they replicate this elsewhere. This will help in 2027, 28, get people moving from, I can't play much, but I can do this, and find their roles.
It's a very great idea, because usually when you're creating a sports spectacle, most times your mind is focused on just the existence and the execution of the sports activity itself, even though there are so many other tangents. And I keep making this phrase or this reference to people, which is sports at the end of the day is just a form of entertainment. And I don't use the word just lightly, like it's irrelevant. I just mean it to show how equatable it is to entertainment. Because if you think about it, there is no inherent value in 22 men kicking a ball up and down a field for 90 minutes. There's no inherent value you get from that. The value you get is that you are entertained, right? It's the stories around what has happened over the years with the 22 men, the different 22 men that keep kicking a ball up and down this field for 90 minutes, that now makes the sport and the game so important and so valuable. With that being said, it correlates directly to esports as well.
Absolutely.
It's the stories around the people who are tapping their phones for 5 minutes different times, and what the results of that make it valuable. And if that is true, then one can draw a tangent to say that the stories around the people who are also pressing buttons and answering calls and making decisions and doing different things in order to make the entire production work also has value that can be told. And I think it's important. For one, at CarryFirst, if I think about it, everybody that's actively, operationally engaged on these projects, they're all within the continent, like all based on the continent and all from the continent. I'm trying to think of if there's anyone that isn't, and none is coming to mind, to be honest. So that's very important to us. We want to make sure that we are doing something for Africans, by Africans, from Africa as well to the rest of the world. So that's one. And I mean, if Esports Africa News is ever open to tell more stories and cover some of these people and their work that they do on the end, we're more than happy, to have that happen, because we have all these folks who are dedicating their time, their mental resources and other forms of resources just to make this happen. And I think sometimes they deserve the spotlight too. And final answer to your question, from an executional perspective, when we think of how we are engaging not just the players, one, obviously we're engaging creators. So last year we even had creators had a streaming booth where we had some of these creators come in and stream live from the event. Some of them also streamed from their houses at the same time. Obviously looking to engage press and media a lot more this year as well. We'll also engage community, in the sense that typically whenever we do an event in a city, if we have a tribe campus, like, and that's our like campus gaming community, if we have a university in that city that has a tribe campus, we make sure our tribe members are able to attend the events, for free. If we can provide transportation for them, we do, because they are part of our community. They already know us and they always show up whenever we ask them to. So these are different ways we're engaging different sectors of the industry. And we hope to build that out even more as we go forward, in my opinion.
No, that's great. Before we finish this, is the educational part I want to bring forward. You did a training
Mm,
course, a training thing. How was that? How did that go? Is it still operational? And
yeah.
how can we get involved, or how can people get involved?
Oh, yeah, that was good. It was you are referring to the Creators College, correct?
No, no, we're talking about the Creators College. We're talking about
Okay.
the course. You had a course online.
Oh, yes. Oh, at this point, there are
Yeah,
so many things you forget. But
yeah,
yes, that was a partnership with Udemy to put out this course for people who wanted
yes,
to
Udemy.
learn
My apologies.
stuff.
Yeah.
No, no worries. Want to learn stuff in the gaming space. It was focused on three sects, so design, arts, and development. And we finished the first cohort. We had a lot of people who completed their courses. Obviously some folks might not complete it, but we gave out courses to, I think the plan was 150, or if not more than that. But yeah, we gave out courses to quite a couple of people. It was nearing the 200s actually. And, they completed their courses, a good majority of them. I know folks personally who have gone into careers because of the courses they took, which is such a blessing for me to be able to sit back here and curate something that impacts the ecosystem and helps people out is just beautiful. And that was the entire point of doing it. I just wanted to be able to give back in a way. Gaming has genuinely changed my life, right? I'm working in an industry that I had no idea of a decade ago, but it's created this entirely new world for me. And several times when I talk to folks and tell them I work in gaming, they don't get it, they don't understand it, they wonder how that's even a job. So to be able to spotlight that and showcase to people that, okay, this exists, it's a thing, people are doing it, and they are living well off because of it, and then help them do it. Remember what I said, culture and infrastructure. So to then help them find ways to do that is a blessing. Are we going to do that again? Definitely. Thinking of new partners, new avenues, perhaps maybe make it more consistent, right? Find some like evergreen way to have maybe something monthly, bi-monthly that just showcases different gaming careers to people and talk to them about it so that people have an avenue to learn what it takes to be in these roles. But it's something that I've been thinking about deeply, and I think we'll definitely um, curate more of going forward.
Now, that's interesting. I think that will help. I keep saying 2027 because I feel like in 2027 everything is just going to blow up in our faces in
Hmm.
Africa, because 2026 has been super exciting. The next half is going
Yeah.
to be absolutely brilliant, and then we can take it from there. No, but I really
Yep.
appreciate your time. I know you've been very busy on all other projects, and on short notice you agreed to speak to us. We thank you for that.
Absolutely.
What would be the message you want to leave for Africa or Africans wherever they are?
Um, hmm. When I think of where the industry was 5 years ago, so that's what, 2021, right? Somewhere
Yeah,
thereabouts.
yeah,
And where the industry is now, it's night and day, right?
stark
We
difference.
have transitioned from being an ecosystem in a lot of ways that's trying to prove that we are
Yes.
valuable or valid to the global markets, to one that the global markets now recognizes solidly. And every major company out there that's serious about growth is building, is actively building strategy or executive strategy for Africa. And this cuts across gaming. It's not just gaming, it's every industry. Anybody who is serious is doing stuff for Africa. If that is true, then I want anyone listening to imagine what the next 5 years would look like then,
Hmm.
and
Uh,
ask themselves, how can you pitch your tent, your strategy, and your understanding early and develop undeniable proof that you are the best are driving results. It's one thing to work for organizations, another to build your own value inherently, but regardless of what you want to do, the point is, imagine the next 5 years and ask yourself what you can do now to prepare for that.
Now that's amazing, because I know in a year's time it's going to be big, let alone 5 years. It's definitely going to be massive. And Africa is not just coming to the table like, we are going to dominate. We are going to dominate, and I know that for sure. That's great. Now, thank you so much, Dom. We're definitely looking forward to engaging with you. Obviously, we are always part of your call ups. So thank you for the opportunity as well. Thank you for always working with us, and we look forward to this year's event.
100%. It's always a pleasure working with the EAN. I think your dedication to covering something that is so niche and so valuable to the ecosystem is outstanding, to be honest, and it's always exciting to work with you guys. So thank you.